Extinction is supposed to be final. A species is declared extinct when the last known individual dies, when habitats are searched and nothing is found, when years pass without a single confirmed sighting. The declaration is made, the species is added to the list, and the file is closed. But what if extinction is not an ending? What if it's just a question we stopped asking? The problem with declaring extinction is that it depends entirely on human knowledge. And as we know, human knowledge has limits. We cannot search every forest, we cannot monitor every mountain range, and we cannot explore every cave system or scan every stretch of wilderness. To this day, vast regions of Earth still remain functionally unexplored, visited only by locals whose testimonies are often dismissed as folklore or misidentification. So when we declare a species extinct, what we are really saying is, we looked and we did not find it. This video is not going to introduce you to cryptids or legends. We're talking about species we know existed, species we have bones, photographs, and specimens of that may have slipped through the cracks of extinction and survived in places we are not looking. These are the ghosts that refuse to die, and you're welcome to their domain. The Japanese wolf, otherwise known as Canis lupus hodophylax, was declared extinct in 1905. It was smaller than most wolves, standing roughly the height of a medium-sized dog, with a stockier build and shorter legs adapted for Japan's mountainous terrain. For centuries, it occupied a revered place in Japanese culture, particularly in Shinto belief, where wolves were seen as protectors of crops and messengers of mountain gods. Shrines were built in their honor, farmers left offerings. But by the late 19th century, Japan was modernizing rapidly. Forests were cleared, and livestock farming expanded. This meant that wolves, once revered, became threats, and a government-sponsored extermination campaign was launched. Bounties were offered, and strychnine-laced bait was distributed across the mountains. Then came rabies. A rabies outbreak swept through the remaining wolf population in the early 1900s, decimating what little remained. And in 1905, the last confirmed Japanese wolf was killed in Nara Prefecture. The species was declared extinct, but the sightings haven't stopped since. Throughout the 20th century, villagers in remote mountainous areas continued to report sightings of animals that were too small to be feral dogs and too wolf-like in behavior to be domesticated strays. Some even claimed to hear howling that did not match any known canine in Japan. Then in 1996, photographs surfaced from the mountains of Chichibu, northwest of Tokyo. The images showed a canine with proportions inconsistent with Japanese dog breeds. It had shorter legs, a broader skull, and a posture that suggested something wild. Experts debated the photos for years, with some dismissing it as a misidentified dog, and others noting features that aligned disturbingly well with historical descriptions of the Japanese wolf. Then, in the 2000s, audio recordings emerged. Hikers in Kyushu and Honshu claimed to have recorded howls that matched historical accounts of wolf vocalizations. Bioacoustic analysis showed the calls were distinct from domestic dog barking or the howls of introduced species. Genetic evidence followed suit in 2019 when researchers studying the DNA of Japanese domestic dogs discovered something unexpected. Certain dog populations in rural Japan carried genetic markers closely related to the Japanese wolf. The relationship was stronger than anticipated, suggesting either ancient interbreeding or the possibility that wolf lineages survived longer than official records indicate. To date, no definitive proof has emerged, no body has been found, and no living wolf has been captured or filmed with irrefutable clarity. But the testimonies continue, the photographs remain unexplained, the howls echo through the mountains, and in Shinto shrines across Japan, offerings are still left for wolves that are officially no longer there. The Zanzibar leopard, called Panthera pardus adersi, was declared extinct in the 1990s. Endemic to the island of Unguja in the Zanzibar archipelago, this leopard was genetically distinct from mainland African leopards, as it was adapted to the island's unique forests. It was smaller, with rosettes arranged in tighter patterns, a predator shaped for isolation. But the leopard's extinction was not natural in any form. it was systematic. The truth of the matter is, in Zanzibar, leopards were feared. Local belief held that they were witches' tools, demonic creatures controlled by sorcerers to attack livestock and terrorize villages. This belief was so deeply rooted in many minds that the Zanzibar government launched an official extermination campaign in the 1960s. Leopards were hunted, trapped, poisoned, and forests were cleared to eliminate hiding places. By the 1980s, sightings had become rare, and by the 1990s, they had stopped entirely. The species was declared extinct, except the sightings never actually stopped. Over time, locals have continued to report leopards in the Jazani forest and other remote areas. Farmers found livestock killed in ways consistent with leopard predation, throats torn, carcasses dragged into trees, and tracks found that did not match any other known animal on the island. For years, these reports were dismissed. The leopard was deemed dead. So what people were seeing had to be feral cats, misidentified civets, or imagination fueled by cultural belief. Then in 2018, footage emerged. A camera trap in the Jozani Chwaka Bay National Park captured a large spotted cat moving through the undergrowth. The animal's size, movement, and rosette pattern were consistent with a leopard. The footage was analyzed by conservationists who noted that the animal appeared too large to be a domestic or feral cat and moved with the deliberate gait of a big cat. But the question remained, was this a Zanzibar leopard, or had a leopard from mainland Africa somehow reached the island? See, Zanzibar is separated from the African continent by roughly 40 kilometers of ocean. And while leopards are strong swimmers, a crossing of that distance would be extraordinary. Nevertheless, without genetic analysis, it is impossible to confirm whether the animal in the footage was endemic to Zanzibar or a recent arrival. No specimen has been captured, no DNA has been collected. The 2018 footage remains the most compelling evidence, but it is not definitive. The ivory-billed woodpecker, also known as Campephalus principalis, was the largest woodpecker in North America. With a wingspan approaching 80 centimeters and a distinctive white bill made of keratin resembling ivory, it was a bird that inspired awe. Native Americans called it the Lord God bird because those who saw it would exclaim, "Lord God, what a bird!" It lived in the old-growth swamp forests of the southeastern United States, particularly in Louisiana, Arkansas, and Florida. But by the early 20th century, industrial logging had destroyed most of its habitat. Timber companies clear-cut the ancient forests, and the bird's primary food source, which was beetle larvae living in dead trees, vanished along with the trees themselves. Specimen collectors also made the problem worse. Knowing the bird was rare, museums and private collectors paid high prices for ivory-billed woodpecker skins, and hunters shot them for profit. The last universally accepted sighting in the United States was in Louisiana in 1944. By the 1950s, the ivory-billed woodpecker was presumed extinct, but then came the sightings. In 1999, a forestry student named David Cullivan in Louisiana reported seeing an ivory-billed woodpecker. Then in 2004, a team from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology released a blurry video showing what they claim was an ivory-billed woodpecker in flight. The video ignited a firestorm. Some ornithologists analyzed the footage and declared it genuine. Others argued it was a case of misidentification, that the bird in the video was actually a pileated woodpecker, a similar but far more common species. The debate became heated. Millions of dollars were poured into search efforts, expeditions combed the swamps, and audio recording equipment was deployed to capture the bird's distinctive double-knock drumming sound. Some recordings were made that matched historical descriptions, but none were definitive. No clear photograph has ever been taken, no specimen has been captured, and no nest has been found. The ivory-billed woodpecker now occupies a unique space in conservation, neither confirmed extinct nor confirmed alive. It is a bird that may exist only in memory, or it may still haunt the swamps, too rare and too elusive to be found. The Pyrenean ibex, otherwise called Capra pyrenaica, went extinct on January 6, 2000. A female of its kind named Celia was found dead in northern Spain, crushed by a falling tree. She was the last of her kind, and with her death, the Pyrenean ibex, a subspecies of Spanish ibex that once roamed the Pyrenees Mountains, was gone. Now, unlike the other species on this list, there is no ambiguity. The Pyrenean ibex is extinct. We know the exact date, we know the exact individual, but extinction, it turns out, is not always permanent. Before Celia died, scientists had the foresight to collect tissue samples from her ear. These samples were frozen and preserved, and in 2003, a team of Spanish and French researchers used those samples to attempt something that had never been done before: resurrect an extinct species through cloning. Using a technique similar to the one that created Dolly the sheep, scientists extracted DNA from Celia's cells and implanted it into eggs from a domestic goat. The eggs were then transferred into surrogate goat mothers. Out of 439 attempts, only one clone survived to birth. So, on July 30th, 2003, a Pyrenean ibex was born, the first animal to be brought back from extinction. The clone was female, genetically identical to Celia, and for 7 minutes the Pyrenean ibex was no longer extinct. Then the kid died. An autopsy revealed that the clone had been born with severe lung deformities, meaning it was never going to be able to breathe properly. The defect was likely caused by errors in the cloning process, issues that still plague de-extinction research today. As a result, the Pyrenean ibex became the first species to go extinct twice, once naturally, once minutes after being resurrected. But the experiment proved something crucial. Extinction is no longer irreversible. Tissue samples from other extinct species are stored in laboratories around the world: woolly mammoths, passenger pigeons, thylacines, and each represents a possibility, a species that might one day walk the earth again, not because it survived in hidden forests or remote mountains, but because we brought it back. The Pyrenean ibex was a test case, and it failed. However, it also showed that the boundary between extinction and existence is thinner than we thought. The stories of these long-missed animals tell us one thing: extinction is not binary. It is not a switch that flips from alive to gone. It is rather a gradient, a slow fade from abundance to rarity to absence to uncertainty. And in that uncertainty, species can linger for decades, reported but unconfirmed, believed but not proven. The Japanese wolf, for example, may still howl in mountain valleys where humans rarely venture. The Zanzibar leopard may still stalk the forests, invisible to all but those who live beside it. And the ivory-billed woodpecker may still drum its double knock in swamps too deep for most to explore. Or they may simply truly be gone. We may never know. Because extinction is not just a biological fact, it is a limitation of human knowledge. Even death is not a final stamp, as some species, like the Pyrenean ibex, have shown us. In the end, all we can do is keep searching, keep exploring, and keep discovering as much as possible. If you want to explore more mysteries at the edge of science and survival, subscribe and join us as we search for answers in the places where certainty ends and the unknown begins.